Okay, so we are doing 10.5, which is parabolas. All right, objectives for this lesson are I can use and determine the standard and general forms of the equation of a parabola, and I can graph parabolas. All right, so the definition of a parabola is the set of all points in a plane that are the same distance from a given point, called the focus, and a given line, which is called the directrix. And this is the directrix form is h and k. All right, so the directrix equation would be x equals h minus p. The simplified equation of a parabola would be y minus k squared equals 4p and x minus h. And this is the orientation when p is greater than 0, and this would be p greater than 0 graphed. The description, this is the vertex, which is h and k. The focus would be h plus p and k. Axis of symmetry would be y equals k. Directrix would be x equals h minus p. And opening would be opening right if p is greater than 0, and it'd be opening left if p is less than 0. All right, so for example 1, we're going to do y squared equals 8x plus 48. All right, so the first question is find coordinates of the focus, the vertex, the equation of the directrix, and the axis of symmetry. All right, so we're going to do example A. All right, so we're going to write the equation in the form of y k squared equals 4p x minus h, which is the standard form of a parabola. Okay, so the question was y squared equals 8x plus 48. All right, so the first step we're going to do is we're going to factor. So this would be y squared equals x, or 8, and then x plus 6, because we're going to pull out 6 out of 48. And then we're going to do y minus 0 squared in the simplified equation form, which would be 4, and then we're going to pull out a 2 from the 8. 4 times 2, and then x plus 6. So 4p equals 8. So then p would equal 2. All right, so now we have our standard form, which would be this right here in this equation. All right. Okay, so in this form, we could see that h equals -6, k equals 0, and p equals 2. So we can use this to find the axis of symmetry, the vertex, the directrix, the focus, all of that. So, all right, I believe it's, okay, it says find the coordinates of the focus and the vertex and the equation of the directrix and the axis of symmetry. So first we're going to do the vertex. So the vertex would be, let's look back at our notes. So the vertex is going to be h and k. So then the vertex is going to be, let's write, vertex is going to be -6, 0, which is the form of h and k. For the directrix, the form is used as h minus p. So in this case, it would be x equals -8, which would be this number in the equation. The focus is going to be identified as h plus p and k. So the focus would be -4, which is here, and then 0 because y minus 0 squared, so that'd be 0. So it'd be -4, my bad, 4, 0. And axis of symmetry, I think, is the easiest one. So the axis of symmetry is y equals k. So axis of symmetry would be y minus 0. So it would just end up as being y equals 0. All right, so the problem 1, there was a b. So b says graph the equation of the parabola. So from this equation and all our information, we're going to graph it. So, all right, so this graph is actually not going to look like that. All right, so the graph is going to be about this, like that. All right, so we are going to graph the focus. So first the focus would be -4. So 4, -4, 0, sorry. -4, 0. The vertex would be -6, 0. So that would be right there, -6, 0. And then 8, the directrix is x equals -8. And then put our y, and then our x, and then, so our, sorry, our directrix would be right here. So the directrix would be dotted, and the line would be going vertical. So that's our directrix, is -8, this line right here, the dotted line. All right, so then to make a parabola, you would parabola the vertex. So in this case, it would be -6, 0. So we're gonna just parabola that. So also it says the opening would be right if p is greater than 0, and left if p is less than 0. So in this case, p is greater than 0. So the opening is going to be towards the right. So obviously it's going to be going this way. And that is it for example 1. All right, so we're gonna move on to example 3. So example 3 says, consider the equation 2x squared minus 8x plus y plus 6 equals 0. So A says, write the equation in standard form. So since x is squared, the directrix of the parabola is parallel to the x-axis. So we are going to isolate the x terms and the y terms. So we're going to do that first. So let's take 2x squared minus 8x equals -y minus 6. So we're going to isolate the x terms and the y terms. All right, so the GCF of the x term is 2. So we're going to take a 2 out. So it's going to be 2x squared minus 4x plus whatever that is equals -y minus 6 plus question mark. All right, so we took the x term out, which is 2, so we did that. All right, so now we're going to complete the square, which is the question marks that we put right there. All right, so 2x squared minus 4x plus 4, which would be completing the square, which is our completing the square, which would be 4, would equal to -y minus 6 plus 2 times 4, because 4 is completing our square. All right, so we're going to simplify this, what we have right here. We're going to simplify that, and we're going to factor it. So we're going to take 2x2 squared equals -y minus 2. All right, so we simplified it and factor it because out of 4, we're going to get a 2. So each side is going to get a 2 because we factored out the 4. All right, next step is that we're going to divide each side by 2. So both of these sides, we're going to divide each by 2. So then that's going to come out as x minus 2 squared equals negative 1/2 y minus 2. So we're going to divide each side by 2. All right, so then we get the standard form. So it says write the equation in standard form. So the standard form for that is going to be x minus 2 squared equals 1/2 y minus 2. So this is our standard form in the equation. So dividing each side, we would get this. So this would be our answer in our equation. All right, moving on to B. So B says find the coordinates of the vertex and focus and the equations for the directrix and axis of symmetry. So we did this in example 1, so it's pretty simple. We are going to find the vertex, the directrix, the focus, and axis of symmetry. All right, so B, we have 4p, which equals negative 1/2, p equals 1/8. All right, so the vertex is going to be 2/2. It's 2 and 2, which is, again, h and k if you forgot. The directrix is going to be, in the y form, equals 17/8. And that form was y equals k minus p again. Focus is going to be 2 and 15/8. And that is h, and then k plus p in our form. Axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 2. That's pretty simple. And that was form. That form was x equals h, so don't forget that form. All right, now, since we all have this information, letter C says graph the equation of this parabola. So we have our equation, which is right here, and then we have our vertex, our directrix, and axis of symmetry and focus, which is all we need to graph the parabola. So using all this, we're going to sketch the graph. So we're just going to draw the graph like we did in the last one. Label it. Don't forget to label. All right, so axis of symmetry, what was that? 2. So we're going to do that first, since it's easy. Axis of symmetry is 2, which is right here. So don't forget that's dotted, and that's going to be a horizontal line. So that's going to be 2. 1, 2, 4. Okay, so our directrix is going to be y equals 17/8. So we're going to graph that as well. So that's going to be about right here. And it's going to be right under there. Okay. What was 15? All right, focus would be 2 and 15/8. So we graph that, which is right there. And then we have x minus 2 squared, which equals negative 1/2 y minus 2. I should have wrote that first because that is initially the whole equation. All right, so we graphed everything. Now, since P is less than 0 right now, it's going to be opening down. So the parabola is going to be opening downward, so this way. So at 2 and 15 over 8 right here, so right this one, we're going to open it down so it crosses over the 1 and the 3 since it's going down. And that is part C. And that is all for the video.